a new bomber base is handed over for the use of a heavy bombardment division of the U.S. 8th Air Force. Having been entirely constructed by colored engineers, a feature of the handing over ceremony was a parade by the Corps. The troops on parade had the satisfaction of knowing that their work had prepared one more base to add to many others from which Germany is receiving such a heavy pounding. Their bulldozers and other construction equipment shared the honors of the day. It had been hoped that Sergeant Joe Lewis would hand over the base on behalf of the troops. Unfortunately, his plane was late. It arrived after the takeoff of the first bomber. However, as you see, the boys weren't disappointed, and they gave the heavyweight champion a terrific welcome. This is a composite story of air battles and bombing successes fought and won by American 8th Air Force heavies during the second week in October 1943. Their combat cameras have provided the records, which include attacks on targets in Germany involving round trips of over 1,600 miles. Attacks on the FW-190 assembly plants at Marienburg, attacks on targets in Munster, that great rail and waterway center of communications and a Ruhr bottleneck, attacks on harbour installations, ships and shipbuilding yards at Gdynia, the port near Danzig in Poland. Gdynia, Marienburg, Munster, Anklam and Schweinfurt. These were some of the principal battles of a great week of daring effort and solid success. The American heavies fought their way to these distant German targets, planted their bombs and fought their way hundreds of miles back. The RAF by night and the US 8th Air Force by day continue to smash German power to make war. Every attack is a battle. Here's a glimpse of an engagement between fortresses and German fighters, as seen by one of the combat cameras in the thick of the fight. Fighters, flak and forts. MEs and other fighters flash through the bomber formations. They shoot down many forts, but their own losses are heavy too. Forts come home after striking another powerful blow. Many of the crew's comrades have been lost, many made prisoner, and many more are casualties even though they get home. Obviously that's inevitable. But their work, theirs and that of our own Royal Air Force, will prove to be the saving of countless lives when the day comes for all-out invasion from the west. All honor to the airmen of our great ally who are helping to prepare the way now. News of America in Britain spotlights the increasingly numerous and heavy punches being delivered by the United States 8th Army Air Force. Every sortie by the fortresses involves a violent air battle with enemy fighters, large numbers of which have been destroyed. But these pictures show the other side of the story, some of the things that can happen to the B-17. All but one of the 4 engines out of action, and the ship got home safely in spite of it. Others have landed, badly shot up. They have to contend with flak, with attack by enemy fighters, including the new rocket guns they fire, and with aerial bombs dropped from above the formations. Damage to aircraft and casualties among air crews. Yes, that's the other side of the story, and of course none of us forget it. A skid, right off the runway. That was by a fortress coming home after being attacked by 65 enemy fighters during the operation. Another blew up. One wing had fallen off just as it was coming into land. The ensuing crash involved loss of the entire crew. Combat camera units of the U.S. 8th Army Air Force have been extremely busy recently, whenever the weather's been on our side. The Luftwaffe has been coming up in comparatively large numbers over Germany. Though often enough they're shot up on the ground, the same fate awaits everything that takes to the air, whether an orthodox plane or a jet-propelled Me-262. Rocket-propelled Me-163. The Luftwaffe is certainly fighting some of its last battles. The lucky ones are the German pilots wise enough or quick enough to bail out.
Combat camera units of the United States 8th Army Air Force provide these new and very striking pictures. As you'll see, targets range from bridges and trains to enemy aircraft. One unusual target was a flying fortress which had crash-landed. They shot it up to prevent the Hun using it, of course. A comparatively new target is the Me-163, one of Germany's jet-propelled aircraft, now running into trouble in the air and on the ground. The Luftwaffe, in fact, having carefully conserved many aircraft for this phase of the war, is now losing them at a very hot pace. The remnant of the master weapon of the master race is being blown to bits.
The ingenious Hun may have thought his pickerback plane a pretty bright idea. It's a Ju-88 used as a sort of giant flying bomb filled with HE. An FW-190 perched on top controls its flight. When the FW cuts away from the steel tripods which form its perch on the Junkers, the two-engined robot carries on, without any pilot of course, to cause havoc in the Allied lines. At least that was the idea, but in practice Allied pilots have found this new frightfulness comparatively easy to deal with. Recently, 5 out of 5 were shot down by Mustangs of the U.S. 8th Air Force. Destruction of ordinary German planes continues as usual, of course, in the air and on the ground. Though strafing German airfields is great work, it sometimes leads to sensational results of a highly dangerous kind.